We are back on Arrakis again for part 9 of our Dune Awakening survival journey completely alone. This time we'll be farming a rare Cutteray, hunting a shipment of tainted spice for the Atreides, and encountering bizarre enemies and shadowy plots in the belly of the burning wreck of the Hephaestus. Let's go. So firstly, I want to upgrade my Cutteray, but not just any upgrade. Instead, we are going to be looking for the Tal Cutteray, a unique duraluminum mining tool that slightly outpaces the Mark 6 Cutteray on jasmium and is on par for titanium and stravidium. Those latter two are a concern for a bit later though. The Tal Cutteray drops in the Udum, so we're going to head up there to farm it. Specifically, we're going to be running the Stone Step Village POI alongside Rockwarren Village and testing Station 71. So, let's see if we get lucky on the first try. No luck on the first run, unfortunately, but we keep going. That may have looked quite fast for you, but it took me a lot longer than it seems. In total I had to pull 14 chests to get the recipe, which isn't too bad for a 1 in 10 drop, I think. We have finally got the Tal Cutteray though, which will be a very nice improvement for duraluminum and plastanium in the future. I also swung by the House of Ilm while I was here to pick up the second Fremen record for the Bene Gesserit training. Whilst we're in the Udum, I headed to Sietch Tal for the Planetologist quest. The Sietch, as described, had been totally destroyed. In the ruins we found a Jacobson note and took it back to Derek to decipher its contents. Derek did just that, identifying the note as a Fremen funeral chant for Liet Kynes, signed off by Shaney. Quite curious, but for now Derek needed some more time to think. Leaving him behind, it is now time to head out into the desert and search for the wreck of the Hephaestus and finally get our hands on the Ixian Decoder to perhaps finally begin unravelling some of the many mysteries of Arrakis. Entering the burning wreckage of the ship, I found a peculiar nobleman just inside. He asked me to help extract a highborn prisoner of this ship who had sent out an encrypted distress call, and in return, he would help me find the Ixian Decoder on board. He seems, admittedly, rather untrustworthy, but for now, it's a deal I kinda have to take. After clearing out a group of suboids, strange beast-like labourers with an aversion to bright lights, I found an Ixian crew member who told me the nearby pentashield could only be unlocked with an eye scanner. He didn't want to leave the cargo container, so I took his eye with me. After withstanding a small suboid assault in a cargo hold, the noble brought the power back on, allowing us to move into an irradiated passage that led to a secondary cargo hold. Inside we located the container from which the distress call had emanated, a converted living space that seems to have been occupied by a Bene Gesserit? The Communinet receiver was also dialed into the Atreides frequency. The Bene Gesserit noble and Ixian crew were now barricaded in the bridge, and our mysterious guide revealed that he knew a little more than he was letting on.
Neither my presence here nor the identity of our rescue subject are as random as I might have first let on. A Bene Gesserit sister, a noble with highly placed Atreides contacts, returning in secret from Warlock 9, home of the Bene Gesserit Mother School. I do believe my errant princess has come home at last.
Venturing outside the ship, a deep valley was our only protection from the swelling sandstorm as we cut through the suboids between the fiery rock on the way to the bridge. Back into the ship, our guide appeared, passing the nearby pentashield and closing it behind him, locking himself in a room of suboids. Probably not the smartest decision.
There are more in here than I expected.
After unlocking a series of electrical panels and getting the lights on in the bridge, the pentashield fell and we entered the room to find the mysterious noble amongst a pile of dead suboids and Ixians. Despite our efforts, the Bene Gesserit noble we had come to save had already escaped. As I picked up the Ixian Decoder, the projection nearby shuddered into life with a strange voice from beyond.
For water, but if you desire dames like consuming flames, try a Caledonian daughter.
Gurney Halleck.
Do I have the honor of addressing Feyd-Rautha? I was watching you on the Transeye, boy.
No wonder our guide seemed so odd. This was indeed Feyd-Rautha of House Harkonnen, and it seemed he wasn't just searching for any noble, but Lady Jessica, concubine of Duke Leto. She had never been on this ship. It was a ploy by Gurney to scupper an apparent marriage pact between Feyd and Jessica. The feral suboids were the work of the Harkonnens themselves, and now we would die aboard the Hephaestus, thanks to explosives Gurney had planted. He hit the detonator, and
no wedding.
Nothing, just yet. The sandstorm outside provided a brief window of interference for the detonation signal, and we quickly escaped, leaving Feyd-Rautha behind, though I doubt this will be the last we see of him.
Can you hear me? Hello?
Another time then, my degenerate killer.
Returning home, Ari contacted us over the Communinet. She has the film, we have the decoder, but she's currently under heavy watch by her parents, who indeed are Duke Leto and Lady Jessica, making Ari none other than Ariste Atreides. We'll have to wait a short while longer to find out what's on that mysterious film, but for now, Alara Tuek contacted us to let us know she has some more names for us to snuff out. Somehow after that entire trip, we have no more answers, and are embroiled in yet another plot. I'm not quite sure how this keeps on happening. Anyway, now that we're free from the wreck of the Hephaestus, it's time to craft that Tal Cutteray we farmed earlier. To do so, we'll also need some thermoelectric coolers. These are mostly deep desert resources, but can also be found in some camps in the far, far north. Also, I thought, despite clearing this Atreides stronghold on the cusp of the western shield wall, something I was definitely undergeared for, I only managed to get hydraulic pistons and military power regulators. Great to have, but not what we need. Truth be told, I don't quite know why I thought I could find thermoelectric coolers here. Anyway, I looked it up, and it seems they are indeed deep desert resources. So, are we going to the deep desert? No. I'm already quite undergeared, so rather than embarrassing myself some more, I'm just going to buy some from Zoe at the crossroads. With some of my cosmetics money begrudgingly spent on resources, we now finally have our Tal Cutteray. To celebrate, I headed back to the Sheol again for a quick Jasmium run. I expected this new Cutteray to just be a nice but slight upgrade, but it's actually a huge jump.
175!
I didn't really take it into account much, but we've technically skipped the Duraluminium Cutteray, as this is slightly better on Jasmium than the Plastanium one. Instead of the 83 crystal we were getting with the aluminium ray, we're now getting 175, an increase of over double. This creates kind of a new problem, however. My inventory and Ornithopter are full within like 5 minutes. I ended up checking out some of the nearby caves just so I didn't waste the rest of my iodine pill. I am kind of considering making an assault orny just so we can get some more Jasmium, but that's a concern for later down the road. The Tal Cutteray won't be our new full-time Cutteray after we get the Mark 6. That will edge out the Tal on some resources, but that hopefully means it should last longer too, which is nice. With our rapidly acquired duraluminum cooking, I returned to the Helios Gate and gave my report to Ganon, who asked me to head to Station 142 and try to find the Red Scorpion, real name Turgon Hauer. Last episode we found out this mysterious figure had cargo removed from the wreck of the Cutteray, so let's see if we can find him amongst the sandflies. Rocking up at the station, we actually haven't ventured into here before, but I'm not too concerned. Before we left home, I crafted a new duraluminum spit dart and drill shot, and to be fair, it's pretty good. In the station, I found a strange audio log from an unknown figure. The Red Scorpion seems to have gotten a little too well known, according to whoever is speaking, and now he had not only mercenaries but House Harkonnen soldiers hunting him down. A later log reveals the Sandflies had been working to produce house-quality weaponry to start a revolution on Arrakis. It seems the Sandflies are a sort of labour rebellion movement, though the Red Scorpion may have gotten a bit too caught up in his own cult of personality. Reaching the core of the Sandfly base, we fought through the flame-wielding insurgents inside to get our hands on the delivery report, and behind it found a voice log from the Red Scorpion himself. He'd escaped and left a lackey behind in his place, but strangely, he mentioned some past experience in the Duke's household, indicating he may have been a servant of House Atreides once, long ago. We headed to the loot room, grabbed our rewards, and returned to Helios Gate. I gave Ganon the evidence I found and she sent me off to Sentinel City beneath the Stone Sentinel to chase the paper trail. Sentinel City is an enormous sandfly settlement, full of fire-spraying enemies and, appropriately, full of loot too. In working our way through, we picked up a ton of industrial pumps and caliber compressors, alongside various other bits and pieces that will help us out. In the end, we recovered a sample of spice that had came from the Cutteray. Not exactly unusual, though it seems to have been tainted with something. Returning to Ganon, she confirms it is indeed tainted. She's tracked down a shipment of this spice to Arrakis and links it to a businessman who not only knows of it but has links to Captain Skorda. She sends me to meet Thufir Hawat and seek permissions to assassinate this businessman on Arrakis. Why does everyone insist on using me for assassinations? Anyway, we headed to Arrakis and spoke with Thufir Hawat. He said he'd heard of us, and I hope so because we spoke to him a few times now. We asked him for permission to assassinate this businessman, and he said no. Well, that wraps that up. We'll have to go tell Ganon. While we're out and about, I stopped by Harko village. I handed the Missionaria Protectiva fragment into Jocasta Clio, unlocking a new quest, and, more importantly, level 3 Bene Gesserit training.
Oh, very good, kitten.
Over in Hanavar's bar, Alara gave me a new assassination target. She has a contract to get rid of a water shipper, but this will not be an easy task. He's currently holed up in his mansion under heavy guard just outside of Arrakis, and if we want to get in, we're going to have to do so quietly. Back in Haga Basin, I swung by Helios Gate once more to tell Ganon the bad news. She did not take it well, and assured me that Thufir Hawat was wrong. My new directive is to kill the businessman anyway, irrespective of Hawat's instruction. Back in Arrakis again, we arrived in the Solution Bull and slipped the businessman the wine with ease.
Caledonian wine, a rare experience.
On the Communinet, Ganon told us she'd hand herself in and take full blame, and to seek further direction from Hawat himself. We spoke with Hawat, who scolded us for our role in the plot against the businessman, who was indeed one of his double agents feeding misinformation to the Harkonnen. Nevertheless, he set us back on the path to find Captain Skorda, with our first target being an Atreides trooper here in Arrakis. The trooper was fortunately quite forthcoming, telling us he last saw Skorda talking to a cultist in town. I told Hawat and then went to speak to the cultist myself, who said we'd find Skorda, and perhaps our own enlightenment, at the Masquerade Learning Centre in the Udom. I returned to Hawat and he told me there was no time for subterfuge. I was to simply attack the learning centre and find Skorda before he had chance to escape again. However, that will be the end of our journey for today. We've got a lot done, but as is becoming a regularity at this point, we've stumbled across very few answers and the twists and turns have only got deeper. Our quest to find the Ixian Decoder uncovered a perilous encounter with Fade Routher in his hunt for Lady Jessica, and the Atreides search for Skorda marches on, though may soon be coming to an end. We are finally rank 4 in the Atreides faction, so not too long until we're the best Atreides around, and then the real plan can begin. Next time we'll be pushing onward, breaching the security of the Watershipper's mansion and invading the Mos Koret Learning Centre in the Udam to finally find Captain Skorda. Of course, as you well know by now, we'll be doing all of that and more completely solo. Thanks for watching, and a massive thanks to our wonderful esteemed coffee cultists for continuing to support the channel over on Patreon. If you want to get the next episode and more videos early, alongside wallpapers, video credits and other perks, check out the Patreon link in the description to support the channel directly. Take care, and I'll see you soon.